So I met Jesus in my dream last night. Now I know that is going to come as a big surprise and to some a great disappointment for those who have followed me for the last 15 years. And there's a heavy part in my heart for those people who have listened to me intellectualize the Bible and um, have listened to me break down the historical attributes and the misconceptions and the contradictions and just give me a minute to explain Jesus coming to me in my dream last night. So, and last night we did a live, and that live we talked about the Apocrypha of John, and we talked about Gnosticism. And like anything else, we went over it. We talked about how the mysticism of it, things that are just created from the extension of a man's mind, and basically that's just another writing that was ignored and called heresy by the political environment at that time frame. And so, I didn't think nothing of it. Didn't think much of it once I went to sleep. Once I got ready to go to sleep, once the live was over. And as usual, I finished the live, showered, meditated. And I wasn't meditating on anything purposefully. But then, I went to sleep. And as I've told you guys, I dream every night. Every night I have dreams. There's not one night that goes by that I don't have dreaming. 99% of the time I remember those dreams. And so last night it didn't seem like anything different. I fully expected to dream. But I was dreaming. And I was in this park that I'm familiar with here. And this man shows up. And he's this copper skinned man and had a beard like mine, looked a lot like me. Right? He looked a lot like me. And it was weird because it was kind of like I was looking at myself, but I wasn't looking at myself. Like I knew it was different. And had a low haircut, and everything. And he he told me he was the Christ. And of course, in the dream, I was like, "You don't look like what's described in the Bible. Where's your robe? And, you're wearing regular clothes that I wear. And where's your curly hair like wool? And he had the skin tone, right? Where's your curly hair like wool? I mean, he had that Middle Eastern copper brown skin that they would have had first century time frame. And he told me that the image of Christ is projected from my mind, like it's projected from me. And he then goes on to tell me that after that live, that I was ready, that he had been waiting because all this time he had been watching me and seeing how I was, to a certain aspect, persecuting Christians and telling them that, the Jesus of the Bible don't exist. And he told me I was half right. He's like, you're half right, but you're ready to go the full measure. He was like, now you're ready. And I was like, this is, and I told you guys I have lucid dreams where I can control my dreams, and I tried to like rewind it and control the dream, but I couldn't control the dream like I normally could. I normally could just like take the dream and make it go the way I wanted to go, make this person disappear, whatever is necessary, because my intelligent mind was like, okay, this is a dream. But I couldn't change it. I couldn't change it at all. And so he began to explain to me, he was like, what you was talking about last night, even those writings, they got it mostly right, but somewhat off. He was like, when I came in first century, that was just one projection of me. But I've been here many times. I was in the garden. I came with the energy of the Barbelo or the Sophia. And I mean, he called it the Barbelo. But it's like I came with that energy to save man. to save man from this ill-fated creation, but not in the way of the human sacrifice that those who misshapen and misinformed and mistaught my religion. And he didn't call it a religion, but he was like mistaught my way. He called it his way and mistaught my way. And now people are they're worshiping idols and they're following a path that I wasn't setting. He's like, you may call it esoteric, but it's really just truth. It was like one of the angels that I created was an angel of truth, angel of will, grace is why I'm here with you now. And I was just like, this can't be real. This is not real. And I was like, I've asked you to come and, when I was in my 20s, where were you in my 20s? Where were you, in my early 30s when I was a teenager and I had all these questions where he was like, you weren't ready yet. You weren't ready. You just weren't ready. He said, but now you're ready. You're ready to start this journey. You're ready to become an unshakable soul. And I asked him, unshakable soul for what? He was, and he whisked me away. And all of a sudden we was in this other realm. It wasn't like it was in space or anything like that. It was just like this light, surrounded by this energy of light that was so amazing. I can't even describe it. And so he said, now I'll begin to teach you and you'll start to see. And he said, I'll come to you often in your dreams and I'll teach you. And then it's for you to teach others. He was like, and he said, I'm going to teach you the way of the Christ, the way of the all, the way of the Creator. I was like, nah, I still didn't want to do it. I still didn't want to accept it. I didn't. And like, I'm fighting this in the dream. And then I just woke up. But when I woke up, my contacts had flipped and folded inside my eyes. And my eyes were hurting, and I tried to open my eyes, but I couldn't see. I couldn't see anything. Couldn't see anything. So I woke my wife up and I was like telling her I couldn't see. And I went into the bathroom. I'm trying to get the contact out. And normally when that happens and it's in the corner of my eyes, I can get it out. But this was like up in the upper lid of my eye and I just couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't get it out. I'm trying to flip my eyelids. I couldn't get it out. And so we got in the car and she took me to the optometrist and they had to like pull my eyelid open and reach up in there with like this soft um, little clip thing and pull the contacts out. And when she pulled the contacts out, I'm looking at the optometrist. And when I looked at her, she was the spitting image of when I was in that realm and the Barbalo came to me. And she said, I'm glad now that you can see. And now you can see more. And for some reason, she said, and I was like, what do you mean by you can see more? She's like, you can see more. So I meditated on this and all day, and then that meditation turned into prayer. And I realized I have been deconstructed from Christianity to reconstruct to the true way of the Christ. And I know that that's going to piss off a lot of you guys. But I promise you, if you join me tonight, I'm going to explain it even more because there's a lot that I'm leaving out. If you join me tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the live on Facebook and YouTube, I want to talk to you guys about this. I want to share this with my family who has been with me. You guys have been there the whole time, and I really want to share this amazing but disturbing thing with you guys. And so just join me there. And as I always say, you have to free yourself. Wow, this has so much more meaning. You have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable.